Another episode of The Kickback. I am your host, The Dude, and today is a beautiful Tuesday afternoon. Good afternoon, my brother. How are you?
Get ready, get ready, get ready.
Get ready, get ready, get ready. How's your day been so far?
It's been great, man. I mean, it's been a awesome day. It wasn't as warm as yesterday, of course, but I had a chance to play pickleball, had a chance to work in my garden, ran across town and picked up some free stuff that I need for my garden. So it's been a really uh, productive day.
Productive day. It's always great to have a productive day. So, what'd you get for your garden?
Well, one of the churches over on the east had a free gate. They said first come, first serve. My truck was the first truck there, so I got that free gate. And I found this place. They make marble countertops, but they got so much extra marble from their cuttings and from damage, and it's just stacked. The back of this warehouse, man, just thousands of pieces of marble. So I threw some marble on the back of my truck. I was feeling like Fred Sanford there for a little bit, and and just trucked my stuff on home. But I'm gonna use that marble in my garden.
What are you going to use the marble for?
Decorative and keep critters out.
Understandable. Because they're not
Because
going
you
to be
can
used to.
scratch. Hmm?
They're not going to be used to that being there.
And you can scratch on marble all day. It ain't going nowhere.
Very true. Very true. Today's been a good day for me. The weather's, like you said, it wasn't as hot as it was yesterday. So it's been a good day. Just trying to get adjusted to the change in weather because school buses in Nashville don't have AC.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to figure out how to equip yourself to be in this heat, and being that this is my first year driving the school bus, just trying to fill it out, making sure I had something to drink, just kind of making sure that I stay hydrated.
Mm-hmm.
So
I know you got you a portable fan, right?
it's got two little fans on there, but I'm trying to figure out how to get me a different fan that sucks the air from the window and blows it on me. But it has two little fans that are above the dashboard that just circulates hot air.
So can you get one of those clip fans you can clip on the window that can draw air from the outside and blow in?
Yeah, you can get one of those. But the thing with that is, on a bus there's no port to plug it in. So if you get one, it's got to be battery operated.
Or it has a USB, you just charge it overnight.
Yeah, you could do that also. But it's still got to have a battery of some sort in order to be
Oh,
charged.
yes, portable. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's got to be a portable fan. So that's the conundrum I'm trying to figure out at the moment is how to better flow air through the bus. Like right now, I keep the first window from the passenger side down, and then I have two sliding windows on the side of me. So I kind of keep them open, and the airflow kind of goes through that open side window and those through. So it's those two. So it's like a blow through. Like it kind of blows
Mm-hmm.
across and keeps. But I'm sitting at the front of the bus. I'm sitting right behind the engine, and so I'm getting all the residual heat. And then you got to think I'm sitting in front of the windshield, so the sun is beaming directly on me. Now the children have a better situation because they're not directly in the sunlight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a couple of my coworkers was like, once you work this summer, you'll see the difference. Your skin will change. You'll lose a little weight. It's like, really? You go through all of that driving a bus in the summertime? It's like, yeah, just wait and see. Okay. Well, we will wait and see what it's going to be like. But on the other hand, tonight we don't have a guest for all the people that usually come into the room on Tuesday nights for us to have a guest. We are here tonight because we have a few announcements to make. In the background, we've been working on a few things here and there, and proudly to announce that the Kickback has an official website with all of the things you want to know about me, the dude, the host of the show, our sponsorship, where you can go and donate to the show, and guests have pages where you can read bios about them. And so that's what we're here to announce tonight. Oh, and we also have merch and things of that nature. So the Kickback is elevating itself to the next level of just being a entity, which we already were an entity, but we just are getting a little bit better, and we are elevating our game because on the Kickback we have ordinary conversations with extraordinary people. So we want to be ordinary men serving the Lord with some exceptional content. Would you agree
Amen.
with that? Yes.
Amen. Amen.
Yes. We are here serving a purpose of getting everyone's story out and letting the world know that where you are right now is not where you're always going to be in life. And just understand that where you're at in life, somebody else has already been there.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody else has already been there. They've already made the mistakes. They got the T-shirt. They got the souvenir gear. They've got it all. Let's see. We are this tonight. And you know what's so crazy, Dave? That tonight makes 50.
Mm.
It makes 50.
Mm.
50. Once I publish this one tonight, it'll be our 50th show that we have published in the
Well, that's
time
cool.
that we've
To
been
talk
on.
about our sponsor and to talk about our merch and the things we got coming up in the future for everybody. So it's not bad.
Right. And I just thought about that sitting here and looking at everything. It is our 50th show. We've done 50 of these things, and it's been an amazing ride, and I want it to continue for as long as possible. So just thanking everyone who's downloaded the show, who's been guest on the show, who's supported us from the beginning. It's been an amazing ride, and we're not going nowhere. We're only going to get better and better and better as time goes on.
What you said.
Yes, sir. So how was the event you went to last night?
Last night? What was the event we went to last night?
The Black Caucus.
Oh, man. It was very interesting. Man, that's my short-term memory is so bad. I forgot. But no, man, it's some interesting things going on. You think about the city management and the current mayor. He's got. I can't figure out which face he puts on, which one I really want to believe, because he's doing different things, and some you can't please all of the people all of the time. I understand that. And I know it's a give and take. You got to give some over here and you got to take some from over here and then you got to give back over here. But I don't know, man. I'm not getting a good feeling about certain things that are going on behind the scenes politically here in Nashville.
So
And
you're not a Freddie
this
O'Connell
latest,
fan?
well, it really doesn't matter because no matter what mayor we have in
Hello?
And then she's, huh?
You kind of faded out on me for a moment there.
Oh, I was saying that I've heard a lot of people have positive things to say about Megan Barry during her term as mayor, but then she got caught with that, personal scandal with her security guard, and that kind of messed up her reputation. And then
Right.
the little guy that came in after her, what was his name?
I can't tell you because.
The little guy. His brother was a senator, state senator.
Right.
Dog, that's a shame. And I thought he was doing a good job until I saw the fire sale that he was selling stuff off downtown for, he was selling properties to these entities, and he wasn't getting the full value for some of these properties. And now we've got Freddie O'Connell and his transportation issue. But I'm like, why are you running these bus lines down here in Bordeaux? Most people out here in Bordeaux own homes. We don't have a lot of apartments out here, but that lets us know that they're pushing this way.
Yes.
So
They
that's
are
why he
pushing.
was having this big ribbon cutting ceremony for putting a bus depot down there in the top edge of North Nashville by Dodge City, and then you got these extended little bus stops with little glass houses you can sit in, because he's allowing, or he's in favor of them building multi-unit affordable homes here in Bordeaux, which is not what we really want. We want the luxury apartments that we were promised at first with the original SP. But then when that company drops their project and the next company comes in and picks the project up, they change it. But the SP was supposed to be these specific things. And now you go from being a luxury apartment town community to affordable living quarters, which are of much lower quality. So it's that bait and switch. This is what we want to do, but then we end up getting something else. So I'm not, they're building, I think it's a 600 unit apartment monstrosity right there on Clarksville Highway at the top of the hill. And then this other one that was a bait and switch, they want to put behind the Dollar General in an open spot of land. That's another 400. So you got 1,000 apartments on Clarksville Pike and Ashland City Highway. That intersection right there is going to turn into a giant roadblock. It's just going to be so congested right there.
Yeah,
It's already congested. I mean, you can sit there for 5 minutes waiting to make a turn, but now you open up these two apartment complexes, and everybody comes now. People don't come with just one car. If it's a couple, everybody comes with two cars.
Right.
So it's just interesting, man.
It's going to be a cluster.
What you said, most definitely. Already is. Traffic on Clarksville Highway is terrible now.
Traffic on everything is horrible. It is horrible everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
There's no place in Nashville right now where there isn't in the inner city of Nashville where there isn't any traffic to where it's not a cluster. It is traffic everywhere, and I don't think they understand. I'll say it time and time again, the infrastructure was not built for this. It was not built for what we have going on right now. It is not built for this.
The original city planners lacked the vision of what Nashville was becoming.
Right.
But my problem with the traffic, I understand traffic is bad, but my problem with the traffic is this. We've just become a backdoor corridor for everybody running up to Jolton and Clarksville, right? So we got 1 million cars coming through our neighborhoods, people speeding, It's only a matter of time before the next major accident happens and somebody loses their life. Even before this latest push in the increase in traffic, we were having multiple accidents. So if those continue or increase, my problem is that we're getting all of this backdoor traffic because people have found, when 24 gets, they want to cut through our neighborhoods, right? But the thing is, we don't have all of the luxuries that they have down in Brentwood. We don't have any sit-down restaurants here in Bordeaux. We just got our first 3-story building with the Legacy Project, with the Bordeaux Clinic. So if you want to run all these people through our neighborhoods, you need to reinvest in our neighborhood. You need to bring better quality things to our neighborhood. We don't need a vape shop. We don't need a daggone.
Very true. Yeah. But these vape shops have the
and we
vape
don't have the
shops
same stuff that they have.
Right. Vape shops are popping up everywhere. 3 of them popped up in my neighborhood at the same time.
But they don't have vape shops down there in Brentwood.
No.
That's my point. You don't mind letting low quality, low class things pop up in my neighborhood, but when we want to look in your neighborhood, you don't want that over there in your neighborhood, but it's okay for it to be over here in my neighborhood.
Right.
That's the angst that I'm having.
I get it. And it is so crazy that Bordeaux should have been a mecca a long time ago. It should have been better than what it is a long time ago. Because what is it? What is the neighborhood where the doctors and stuff lived at?
The Gold Coast, you mean? Kings Lane?
No, not Kings Lane.
Bordeaux Hills?
No, what is it? Enchanted Hills?
Yeah, Enchanted Hills. Yeah, Enchanted Hills. That's it.
Enchanted Hills. Enchanted Hills, man, is
off of Kings Lane. You make a right turn off of Kings Lane and drive up into Enchanted Hills. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm on the other side of that hill.
Okay. But the thing is, being those people have lived in that neighborhood for years, why did they not try to make it a better situation because they live there?
Man, that's a hard pill to swallow. Sometimes when people think they've arrived, they get comfortable, complacent. And I'm not accusing anybody of anything. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, looking at human nature, as a person of color, you get into Nashville and you're moving up on top of this hill and you're living in a nice home, maybe back, maybe 30, 40, 50 years ago, you got a nice home built and you paid $80,000. That was a lot of money back then.
Yeah.
And the properties have definitely increased in value since then. And there's some nice properties up there in Enchanted Hills. And I know that they've continued to build up there. It wasn't always that crowded. And, as the decades went by, the style of homes changed and got more modern. But, you move up into that neighborhood and you feel like, hey, man, I've made it. I've arrived. So, I'm good. Me, mine and my boo, we're doing all right. And, as long as, nobody come up in my yard, I'm good.
Right. That is, but still, I don't know. My mindset is a little different. I would want all the amenities in my neighborhood and not have to travel in order to have certain amenities. But, the living in Bordeaux, you have to travel to get certain amenities.
Mm-hmm. Unless you want to live out of, they closed down the Family Dollar. They closed down they're closing the Dollar General, but that's not living. That's low quality products. You don't want to eat the food products out there. Basically, if you're shopping out of a Dollar General or Family Dollar, that's a food desert.
Yes.
Yeah. We have the Krogers and we have Hunters next to each other. That's the reason why Bordeaux is not a food desert. But besides that, we don't have a post office. We got to go over to Rosa Parks. Whites Creek with a population of what, 200 people? They got a post office. They've got a post office and we don't.
He said,
and we are much bigger than the Whites Creek area. They're at the corner of Old Hickory Boulevard and Whites Creek Pike. They got a post office.
Right.
They had a sit-down restaurant.
Right.
It closed last year, but they had a sit-down restaurant.
You guys had a sit-down restaurant right there next to Kroger's, didn't you? What was the name of that soul food restaurant?
That's not a sit-down. We got a Waffle House. That you consider Waffle House a sit-down restaurant? That's a truck. That's a pull off the highway and grab you some dirty eggs. That's not the kind of restaurant we're talking about.
I'm not talking to you. You just gonna drive past what I'm saying. What was the name of the restaurant that was next to Crow? It was a soul food
Big
restaurant.
Mamas.
Yeah,
Big Mamas.
Right.
Yeah, Big Mess.
Big
man,
what?
They was big mess. They were so tight on the servings, man. They wouldn't give. They was measuring and here's a spoonful of this and a spoonful of that. I was like, Negro, please, for the price you charge, you better give me some food. Quit playing.
What happened to them?
It's still there, but again, I don't consider that a sit-down restaurant. That's a hole in the wall. That's and right next to Big Mama's is the China Spring, Chinese place. So, and then on the end of it, you got a Subway, and next to the Subway is a Domino's Pizza. So it's like a little strip mall, but I'm talking about a quality restaurant. You know, something where you could take your spouse for a nice evening out without having to drive to West End or Rivergate.
Yeah.
And then they want to throw this. You don't have population density. Companies don't want to come out there because you don't have population density. Okay.
What do they mean by that?
That's a good question. Well, what it means to me is that we're going to find an excuse. We're going to use that as the excuse not to build in your neighborhood. That's what that sounds like to me.
Yes.
Because you got to think of it like this. All of the people that live over there on Rosa Parks, all of the people that live down Clarksville Pike heading towards 18th, they would all come to Bordeaux instead of driving to West End or beyond. They would come to Bordeaux because Bordeaux is closer than going elsewhere.
Yes.
So we do have population density. We got all of those apartments down there in North Nashville area, right south of the Welcome to Bordeaux sign. All of those folks would come to a nice sit-down restaurant if it was located in Bordeaux.
Yes, I will agree.
So I don't that using that as an excuse of population density is just that. It's an excuse.
I mean, you would even get people that come down in. You got to think about the midsection. The midsection is like Ewing Lane.
Mm-hmm.
Ewing Lane. If Bordeaux had more of a, like you said, a sit-down restaurant and a couple of other things, the people from the Ewing Lane, Knight Road area would come to Bordeaux.
Mm-hmm.
Because you guys are closer than going to Rivergate or going to downtown Nashville.
Yeah, Brick Church Pike area.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. That area, Westchester and Tucker and
there's a lot of communities. There's a lot of homes over there. Those people would come.
Yes, even
right now
go ahead.
I said, I mean, it's still closer than driving to Rivergate.
Yes, I totally agree.
And they want to build over here, so they want to have developers come over and build so badly. But again, we don't want a bunch of cheap multi-family units over here because the format of this neighborhood around Bordeaux are single family homes on an acre and a half, 2.5 or 5 acre lots. So why do you want to take a 5 acre lot and put 400 units on there?
Right. I love the
I
fact
know
that
I know why they want to do it, because they want to maximize their profits and make millions of dollars and then go live home happily in Brentwood.
right, Franklin, wherever. But I love the fact that some neighborhoods have ordinance where you cannot build multi-unit properties in that neighborhood. I forget what side of town I was on, and they was like, "Yeah, we got an ordinance. You can't build multi-unit properties on one lot." And I was like, "That's amazing. That's amazing." Like in my neighborhood,
I think my
we don't
internet
have
connection.
any. Do what?
Say that again? No,
I said,
I think my internet connection faded out on me. What did you say?
in my neighborhood, we don't have any we don't have any of those tall and skinnies in my neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
We have the old school style condominiums or what you would call a duplex, but you don't have any of the tall and skinnies or 4 houses on one lot. No, we don't have that out here.
Bruh, 4. Look, right off of there's a fire department right off of Buena Vista.
Okay.
There was a acre and a half lot. Developer bought it. They've got like 12 tall and skinnies on that acre and a half. They got one little road driving in, one little road driving out, but they got like 12 units on that acre and a half.
Yeah. What about a quarter acre on Trinity Lane? On Trinity Lane, I don't know how they turned it from commercial into residential, but they took a quarter acre lot and they're building 4 tall and skinnies on a quarter acre lot.
Mm-hmm.
Right off of
Exactly.
Trinity Lane. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't even look like there's enough room for everybody to pull into the driveway.
Mm-mm. And they don't care. The planning commission is just handing these things out. These developers are just going hog wild. Here's another thing about Bordeaux, like right down there by the intersection of Trinity Lane and Clarksville Pike. They're building all of these short-term units, these Airbnbs.
Yeah.
That does nothing for our region.
Is that
That's
the ones they're building down there off of Trinity Lane next to the church?
Well, there are some over there, but I'm saying like right off of Clarksville Highway, where you turn left to go Trinity Lane, you turn right. I forgot the name of that street, but they got that they got that mural, the Nashville mural, right next to the Quick Sack, that gas station.
Oh, yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about, across from the Save-A-Lot or whatever it is.
Yeah, the Bordeaux Market.
Okay, Bordeaux Market.
All of that, yeah, all that down there is Airbnb stuff. So what does a complex of Airbnbs do for a neighborhood?
Nothing. It does nothing for the neighborhood. It does everything for the person who owns them, but it does nothing for the neighborhood.
Exactly.
Except give you all transient visitors.
Mm-hmm.
People that are just going to come in, do whatever they're going to do, and get back out of town, whether that's drink and go crazy and have parties and do all these different things. That's all they're going to do. The owner's going to reap the benefits, and you all are just being sucked dry.
Exactly. Because they're not going to shop in the neighborhood. They're coming here. They're going to run back downtown. They're going to put on their cowboy boots and their hats. They're going to run back downtown and drink and do whatever they want to do. Then they're going to come back to the Airbnb, sleep it off, do that the next day, and then jump on a plane or jump in their car and drive home.
That's it. Now you may get a few residual people that'll shop in the neighborhood. Like you said, the people that are driving, they may get a little gas, go to the gas station and buy some beer, go to the liquor store and buy some liquor. but that's about it, and that's not
Mm-hmm.
really helping the community.
They're not going to be dropping off any dry cleaner. That dry cleaner is not going to benefit from those Airbnb. People don't come on Airbnb and go drop off dry cleaning.
No, no, no. I get it. I understand, but the catalyst is the first 3-story building has been built. So that means the groundwork has been laid. Now the residents, i.e. you and your community, have to continue on that
Mm-hmm.
path because the groundwork has already been laid. The first building has been
Mm-hmm.
put there.
Yep, and that's the problem. Trying to get the community to come together and pull their heads up out of the sand. That's the hard part.
I mean, but if you got a room full of 20 people, how many are on board?
Half.
Okay. So you got 10 people that are on board.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That sucks.
Well, I'm thankful for that half.
I mean, I get it. I understand. I would be thankful for the half also. But at some point, how do we motivate the people to be better or want better? How do we motivate these people to want better?
That's a great question, my brother. And if we had the answer to that, we would be millionaires.
So what are the people asking for? What are the people that are not motivated to change the community? What is it that they're looking for?
I have no idea. They
So
just don't. They're not interested in change. People don't want change, but change is coming. And the thing
change is
is,
inevitable.
right, change is inevitable. Pretending like, if you just take your ball and go home, change ain't going to happen. Guess what? Next time you come out to the court, it ain't going to be no nets. It's going to be a pickleball net. It ain't going to be no basketball net.
Or the court ain't even going to be there anymore.
Oh, it'll be there. It'll just have a pickleball net set up on it.
Right.
It's going to change. But the thing is, you need to embrace the change and then add your 2 cents so you can help guide the change that comes in your neighborhood. Sitting back saying, I don't have nothing to do with this. Well, then that means you're down for whatever comes.
Right.
And if they want to put tall and skinnies up everywhere, then that's what you advocated for.
Right.
By your no vote, you got the president that you got.
See, get out of my head, because that was exactly the next statement I was about to make. I mean, verbatim.
Mm-hmm.
That was the next statement I was about to make. Your no vote got us the president that we have now, in the situation that we have now. Oh, I ain't voting. It ain't got nothing to do with me. Politics, man, it don't work in my community. It ain't hurting me. It ain't helping me. So where do you live? You live under a rock? You live in a cave? Because if you live in this world, you'll see that it's hurting everybody.
Exactly. The world is hurting. This clown is hurting the world. He's even hurting penguins on an island that don't even have any human inhabitants.
Yes.
He's gonna put tariffs on an island of penguins.
Yes.
So what is Happy Feet supposed to do now? I mean, he's not gonna be happy.
Right.
Man, that's crazy.
Hey, it's crazy, but it's true. It's crazy, but it's true. And this is the fate of the world. And all you people out here that says, my vote don't count, well, you foolish. My vote don't count. Yeah, it does count. It counted a whole lot.
They never heard that story. The people that say that never heard the story about the starfish.
Well, enlighten them, Dave.
Have you heard the story about the starfish?
No. That's why I said enlighten them.
All right. So one day this old man was sitting sitting in his chair on his porch overlooking this beach, and the tide had washed in, hundreds of starfish up onto the beach. And there was this young boy walking down the beach, just picking up starfish and throwing them back into the sea. And the old man was just watching this young boy, and he was puzzled. Why would this kid just spend his whole day, with this unsurmountable task of trying to throw these hundreds of starfish back into the ocean? So he gets up and he walks down to the beach and he starts talking to the young boy. He says, "Son, what are you doing? You're wasting your time. You're not making a difference. Look at all of these hundreds, almost thousands of starfish on the beach, and you're tossing them in one by one. It doesn't make a difference." And the little boy picked up a starfish. He looked at the man. He threw the starfish into the ocean. He said, "It made a difference to that one."
Very true. But people don't see it.
Nope.
People don't see it. People do not see it until it's too late, and then you're crying.
Yep.
Oh, it's me. They done took Mama's house. Or they done did away with Mama's what? Okay, but you were the one that was okay with them taking away Mama's house. You were okay with them taking Mama's land. You were
Mm-hmm.
okay with them building these tall and skinnies. You were okay with that. So let's not cry about it now.
The travesty is that, these younger people, Big Mama bought this house back in the 1950s, 1960s for $14,000, $15,000, $18,000. Okay, it's a shack and it's falling down. Y'all didn't want to take care of it. Y'all don't want to live there. And so a developer comes by and says, "Hey, I'll give you $75,000 for that lot and that house." "Oh, that's good money. Yeah, let's take that." And you take that sucker deal. They bulldoze the house down. They bring in some dirt, improve the lot, and build 12 tall and skinnies on there, and they're balling. They're making millions, and you got $75,000.
Right.
You weren't even smart enough to find out what the property value for the land was. You didn't even get enough money that would cover the land value. You took the okie doke deal, first bid deal, got chumped, and now they're making millions of dollars, and you got $75,000 that paid off your credit cards, and you bought you a new SUV. But you balling.
Oh yeah, I'm balling. I'm balling.
And once again,
out of control.
that's part of the curse of Black America, because there's a segment of our society that does not have economical intelligence.
Yeah, because it wasn't taught to us.
It wasn't taught. It wasn't passed down.
Right. Because in the low income communities and in you was always taught just to go to work, pay the bills. Keep your head down, don't cause no problems, go to work, pay the bills. That's what you were taught. That was it. That was it. Don't make no waves. Don't get yourself into a situation where the man might be watching you. Just do what you need to do and pay your bills. I mean, it's one of the biggest things I always gripe about is the fact that a lot of parents didn't teach, and I'm one of those people. My mother really never taught me how to pay bills. She never taught me how to pay bills. So when I got older, I basically had to teach myself because my mother didn't teach me how to pay bills, but bills needed to be paid. Bills need to be paid once you become an adult, once you have a family or whatever your circumstances may be, you got to learn how to pay bills. And so I had to learn how to pay bills, and that was not one of the things that was taught to me as a child. But my mother was a hard-working woman. I'll never take anything from her. She was a very hard-working woman. And she made sure I had everything that I needed in life. She made sure of that. So I can't sit here and be like, My mama. No, she didn't have the tools that she needed in order to teach me because my grandma didn't have the tools. So it's a generational thing. My grandma didn't have the tools that she needed. She wasn't equipped. And so it just kind of got passed down from generation to generation to generation. And it is as bad as it may sound, that's where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
That's where
Exactly.
we're at. No, go ahead.
That's where
But
we're at.
but the whole part about people not wanting to uh stand up for what they got is puzzling to me.
It is. It's very puzzling. It's it's actually a travesty, and there's so many different sides to that coin. Some people take the mindset, well, that's all they're going to let us have. They always going to take from us, or they're going to burn us down. Every time we try to build, they pull the rug out from under us. But that don't mean stop. But some people take that as a stop sign instead of a yield. Look both ways, and then once you see a clearing, you see. But they turn that into a red light or a stop sign, and all progress comes to a halt.
I mean, it's like last week what Bubba said. He was talking and he said that we have evolved as people. So if you know they're going to burn us down, have a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C. But that takes
Mm-hmm.
intelligence, and it also takes a bit of determination, will, and drive. You've got to
Mm-hmm.
have some sort of determination, will, and drive to want to do it and say, okay, they're gonna burn us down, so we might as well just not do it at all. But wait,
Mm-hmm.
why not do it at all? Your grandma bought this. Your grandpa worked himself to death to get this, and you're just going to throw it away?
Mm-hmm.
It's not worth anything. Wow. This is really what you want to do with something that your grandpa, mama, daddy, whoever it was, worked for. Now you just gonna throw it away. You just gonna throw it away.
Or uh, yeah, basically, yeah. Especially if they don't get the value that the true value that it's worth.
Dave, you know they're not getting the true value.
Mm-mm.
Who's really
Like I said,
standing up and doing the research and saying, okay, there's who's gonna do the comps? Nobody's doing the comps, and nobody's doing the footwork it takes to understand what a house is valued at. Too much work.
mm-hmm. Or they don't see the value in home ownership, or they don't see the value in generational creating a, a, a multi levels of generational wealth.
It's like, this weekend, me and my wife, we went and looked at a piece of land. Because we want something different from what we got right here. We're not selling. We're not selling.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna let one of the kids or the kids or whoever in the family stay here, and we're
Mm-hmm.
going to go venture new ground and find us something different. But it's
Mm-hmm.
not the fact that we want to sell or we want to, do any of those things. We just want to add to. We want to add to what we already have.
Right.
So once we leave this house, the kids will live in it. Or if they don't live in it, then we'll rent it to somebody we know at a reasonable price.
Mm-hmm.
But we want some land. We live in the neighborhood in a in a subdivision. Well, not a subdivision, but in a nice little area. You've been by my house. You know where I live at.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice neighborhood, but we want some land.
Mm-hmm.
We want some
I
land.
I understand. Believe me, I understand.
But I can't understand, what you're saying. People, they don't see the value in home. Who? Where did you grow up at that you don't see the value in home ownership?
I mean, brother, look, you staying in you and your baby daddy and your 3 kids are staying in Section 8. He ain't supposed to be there, but he there. But Big Mama passed away. You the only heir, and you just gonna sell the property because you don't see the value.
So the allure of the quick dollar is what you're saying, is basically what I'm getting.
Exactly. And the developers know this. They can smell a sucker coming.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Oh, you know how much hassle it's gonna be trying to fix this place up. The wiring is old, the pipes are old. They probably still got the metal pipes in there. They don't have PVC. It's gonna be lots of money coming out your pocket to fix this place up. They give you all of the negatives, but they don't tell you the positives. So they sell you on all of the negatives, and you think you banking out by getting that $50,000, that $75,000, and they come in with a bulldozer. And 50 years of your family's memories are gone in a day. What was that movie with Will Smith, iRobot? When he was sitting in the man's house and the demo bot came on and tore that house down in minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's not they gonna prompt you know what it's gonna be. Oh, we just gonna redevelop it. We gonna redevelop it. We not gonna tear it down. We just gonna redevelop it. It's gonna look
Okay.
just like it used to. It's gonna be all
No.
right.
Mm-mm.
We taking it down. It is out of here. But I digress, man. That is something that we will not be able to figure out. We will not be able to fix. It is something that is going to need a lot more than us to understand it and make better, because I can see the Bordeaux that it could be. In my mind, I could see the Bordeaux that it could be, or it should be, but a lot of people don't. They don't
Look,
value it.
West Hamilton Road, that section of West Hamilton Road where you pass by Hartman Park, you come straight down over the hill, and you come out to Clarksville Highway or Clarksville Pike. You're at that Citgo gas station. You look straight across where they built the new West Hamilton, because before you had to make a right turn and then make another left turn to get back on West Hamilton. Now West Hamilton goes straight across. All that field back there, and it swings around. What's the name of that park back behind there? They didn't have, oh man, what's that? I can't think of the name, not Todd's. It's a little park back there that has been just, they've allowed it to just dilapidate. It's nothing there. Basketball courts are no nets, no chains, nothing. It's just a big open area. It could be a nice park for that neighborhood, but Metro Nashville has not poured any money into that area, period. You got all of that space over there off of West Hamilton. A Walmart could be over there. And if you build a Walmart, you got a Lowe's there coming. Walmart and Lowe's run together. And then you could have all of these nice little eateries and shops, just like up on Dickerson Road where that Walmart is, the ghetto Walmart on Dickerson Road. You got your Dollar Tree and you got your Lowe's. You got all that space over there, and nobody is developing that. There should be some sit-down restaurants there. There should be a Piccadilly's or or something. I mean, old Charlie's. I mean, I'm not even asking for nothing, you know, what's out there on West End? J.
Yeah,
Alexander,
yeah, Jay
Brick
Alexander.
Tops.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying a regular sit-down restaurant that a family can go, affordable restaurant that a young man and a woman can take their 2 kids and go sit down and have a night out and not
yeah.
cost them, you know?
Yes, yeah. And it should have been like that a long time ago. And that's basically what I'm saying about Bordeaux. Is Bordeaux and Upper Dickerson Road should have been like that a long time ago, but
Yeah.
they chose not to do anything with that. And now that the dynamics are changing here in Nashville, they're deciding to do something with that neighborhood up there because where Skyline is, they're building a Thornton's.
Yeah, Thornton's
Thornton's
gas
gas
station
station. Yeah,
across from the Lowe's.
from the Lowe's and the Walmart and all of that. They're
Yeah,
building.
you come out of that Lowe's exit, and that new Thornton's is right across the street.
Yes,
But
yes,
Dickerson Road and Trinity Lane, man, it's like, where in the world did all of this come from?
right, right. And so they're building that there, but that property, the property that they're building the Thornton's on, has been empty for years. Why was it
Mm-hmm.
not developed a long time ago? Why was it not developed a long time ago? It's been sitting empty for so long. Now all of a sudden, the dynamics of the neighborhood have changed, and the people, and you have different people coming in. But when that was an African American community for 20 years, because you got those upper class houses. What is it, Mulberry Estates?
Mm-hmm.
Mulberry Estates was one of the nice developments that we had here in Nashville that was primarily African American.
Mm-hmm.
But you still had to either travel to downtown Nashville or Rivergate in order to get the amenities you're talking about. The Walmart's been there for how long?
I don't know. It was here when I got here. I don't know when they built it.
How long have you been here?
12 years.
It's probably been there no longer than 20 years. 12 years at the most.
Now, those apartments they built right next to the Lowe's, going up into that hill, I don't know how many units. I don't know how many units are up there, but it's probably between 200 and 400 units up there.
Yeah, that's a low-income housing unit.
Right, but now because they're there, I guess they say there's a need for the Thorntons.
Right, but the need was there a long time ago.
I mean, they got one gas station there out front of the Walmart.
Yeah, but if you go in either direction, there are gas stations in both directions.
That's true. You got to go down past the Arby's, and there's a couple of gas stations down there on Dickerson. And then if you go up towards Rivergate, there's another one. Yeah.
There's 2 more that way.
Yeah.
There's an AM/PM, and then there's the there's the Twice
Shell.
Dailies. Shell?
Yeah, the Twice.
Shell.
Mm-hmm.
Twice Dailies on the corner of Old Hickory Boulevard and Dickerson Road.
Yeah.
And so it is one there and one on the other end. But
so why another gas station?
Who knows? Who knows why another gas station? I mean, who knows why are vape shops? And that's the whole thing about vape shops. I'm wondering, why are these vape shops popping up so frequently when the FDA or whoever it is has said that they were so bad for our children? And I say children, I'm not putting a color on it because it says so bad for our children. Why are you allowing them to pop up in so many places? Why are you
Right.
allowing them to just
Well, because
monopolize?
look where they're popping up at though. They're not popping up in Brentwood. They're not popping up in Franklin. They're not popping up in West End. They're not popping up over there by Vanderbilt. They're popping up in black and brown neighborhoods and black and brown communities. They'll approve that. And I was looking at something today. There is a congressional act that states that banks are supposed to be doing a certain amount of business in the communities, and they have not been abiding by this congressional amendment for decades. Now all of a sudden it's coming to light. So now banks are trying to be more forthcoming with loans for homes and businesses. So they don't redline people of color into certain areas, not following these congressional guidelines, and now they're trying to get out before they get caught with their hand in a cookie jar. I got to look that up and figure out what that was. I got to find that again.
Okay. It is. Once again, I don't understand how they're allowing things like that to happen. But I get what you're saying. They're not popping up in those neighborhoods. They're popping up. But I've always said this about the government, like COVID. This is population control. There's a lot of population control going on that we, as brown and black people, don't know about. They're trying to kill us off. They've been trying to kill us off for years.
Oh yeah, and if it's not population control, it's end up going to the doctor so we can give you a pill, so the pharmaceutical companies can make more money on you because they're not healing you, but they're just keeping you alive so you can buy another pill.
Oh yeah, it's a pill mill. Yeah, go and take that pill. We're gonna give you as many pills as possible, and we're gonna let them mix in your system. Because one gonna mess up your kidneys, the other one gonna mess up your lungs, and the other one gonna mess up your heart.
And we got a pill for that.
Right. That's gonna mess up your bowels.
And we got a pill for that.
That's gonna mess up your eyesight.
We got glasses for that. You go to the optometrist, he got to get paid too. And ophthalmology is a big scam because all glasses do is allow your eyes to see, and the muscles that are there to improve the focus, they get weaker. That's why as you get older, your glasses get thicker, because glasses allow you to see without your eyes having to work for it. And if you don't use any muscle in your body, it atrophies.
Yeah, very true.
But if you exercise those eye muscles, you can improve your vision without the need for glasses. In a lot of cases, not all cases, but in most cases.
Right.
Just for clarity. Back in this was probably back in the early 90s. There was a commercial that was out with, I haven't called the girl's name in so long. It was two sisters. They were two white sisters. They were actresses. And the Hemingway girls.
Okay.
Marielle Hemingway. She was the spokesperson for this eye improvement system. And what they had these cards with these little holes punched in them. And you had to hold the card up and look through the little holes. And what that did, it trained your eyes to make you focus, trying to find, to see through these little holes. And what it did, it made the muscles that are around the sides of your eyes work. It was a workout for those muscles. And when those muscles got worked out, it improves the vision. So I said to myself, why am I going to spend $299 to buy a box of cards with holes in it? I just took my pencil and started bringing the pencil closer to my eyes to the point where I went cross-eyed, but I was focusing on that number 2 on the pencil. I had to maintain that number 2. I couldn't let it get blurry. And then I would ease it away from my face And then, the further away it got, it got clear. But when I get it close, it starts to get fuzzy. But as I kept doing that, I could feel the muscles around my eye starting to tap out. You know how you can work a muscle to the point where that lactic acid builds up and you can't get another rep in? That's how my eyes felt. And it's like, oh my gosh, I got to close my eyes and just see and watch the darkness to let that pain go away. But you know what? I stayed with it. And next thing you know, I kept doing it like 3-4 times a day for about 5 minutes. And then one day I was at work signing a bunch of documents, and my glasses were on top of my head. And I'm sitting here reading through these contracts and reading through these military documents. And I was like, dog, I don't even have my glasses on. I put my glasses on. I was like, I couldn't see the difference. I took my glasses off and put them away. Now, how often do you see me wear glasses?
I didn't even know you wore glasses.
Exactly. That's my point.
I didn't even know you wore glasses, bro. Man, it's being real. I didn't even know until you just said it.
So every once in a while, I get lazy and I stop exercising my eyes. But then when I notice things getting fuzzy again, I'll go ahead and start doing my exercises and tighten my vision right on up.
Okay. I hear you, bro. You figured out the method.
Yep, to the madness. But it makes perfect sense, because if you don't use a muscle, it's going to atrophy. And there are muscles around your eyes that control focus. You just have to find a way to work them.
Right. That's pretty smart. But a lot of people don't put out that type of information or don't remember that commercial. When was the last time you remember seeing that commercial?
Oh, it's probably about 1992, 93.
Right. And that commercial disappeared.
I don't know if they made any money on that product. That product, look, honestly, I'm telling you, I wasn't spending $200 on no box of cards with no holes in them. I'm sorry.
Hey, you ain't got to apologize to me. I get it. I'm not spending no $200 on no box of cards to look through some holes when you could, like you said, you could do the same thing.
You know how much money $200 was back in 92? That was a lot of money back in 92.
It was a lot. It was a lot, because back then I was making like $700 every 2 weeks.
Shoot, that was a chunk of change back in the day.
That was, like I said, I was making like $700 every 2 weeks, and that was decent for, you said 92. I was 14.
What, 19?
No, I ain't that old. You may have been 19.
No, man, I was, man. Please.
92, I was 13, going on 14.
Oh, okay.
And I was working at a summer program. You know how they used to do the programs the CETA program, yes.
Yeah.
I worked on the CETA program back then in the summertime, and I think I was making like $700 every 2 weeks, and I was balling.
Man, I worked the CETA program back in 1978, and I was getting like $200, and I was balling. Couldn't tell me nothing.
Nothing. You was the man.
Sir. Yes, sir.
You was the man. Hey.
I was proud of my check.
And
I was always.
Go ahead.
I always kept my pay stubs. I had a little book. I punch holes in my pay stubs and hold on to my pay stubs.
Man, I wish that program still existed to this day, man.
Man, that CETA program was the bomb. I was a janitor at a school.
It was. I wish it still existed, because I feel like it's needed right now.
It gets you off the streets.
Exactly. That is exactly my sentiment. Exactly. It will get some of these young kids off the streets, and it will help them understand that there's more to you than who you are, and you have the ability to do certain things. And I think at that age, a little discipline in that area will help.
Oh, heck yeah.
It will help.
Oh, most
job
definitely.
Discipline. Put that phone down. You got to work. You got to do this.
Work ethic, look, I was at the daggone Lowe's today, and I'm standing there in line waiting to check out, and this young girl is sitting here grab tailing with a boy, and they both got on Lowe's vests, but nobody wants to run the register, and they're standing there just keying and smacking each other with a wooden stick, and you got people standing here in line trying to check out, and neither one of you are trying to check anybody out. So we got these two over here playing, and this one girl, she's over here checking out the line, but the line is backing up, getting long, and these two don't see a need to open up a register and check people out. But they on the clock, grabbing each other's butts on the clock, having a good time.
Right. But that just goes to show that they have whoever their supervisor is need to be checked in, need to be reeled in, because that means they have no supervision. That means whoever's supposed to be their supervisor, their immediate supervisor, is not doing their job.
Exactly. That's the breakdown.
Yes, that's the breakdown. But the person who's above them is probably no more than 5 to 7 years older than them.
Exactly. That's my point. Even the school that my wife is working at, the principal there, this must be his first position as a principal. He's not 30 years old. And they got some ghetto kids in this school, and he's afraid to put his foot down. You got a 7-year-old boy running through the classroom in second grade, turning over people's desks, knocking kids out of their chair, hitting kids, punching people in the face. And you're afraid to put your foot down. Look, you better call his parents in, suspend his behind from the second grade. Yeah.
Yes.
Get him out of the classroom, because he's preventing the education from ongoing.
Yes.
The whole class suffers, but you're afraid to do your job because you don't want the parents to be mad at you. Man, look, you need to go find another job.
Yeah, you need to go back wherever it is that you came from and take whatever you got and take that with you and go back, because
it's not working here. Yeah.
No.
Go back to New Hampshire where that kind of stuff don't happen.
Right. Because whatever you got going on is not working here. These children need an authority figure in their lives. They need authority figures. And if you can't be an authority figure, then you're useless.
Exactly. You part of the problem. You ain't the solution.
Right.
No, we need the real board of education, like I had when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah.
That board of education with holes drilled in it, oh, yeah. That got your attention.
Yeah. I've asked people, why can't we bring that back?
Well, we should, because these clown Republicans in the state of Tennessee are trying to bring back execution by rifle squad and lynching. So we might as well bring back the paddle and jack some jeans and get some discipline in these schools.
And they've already done that, though. You know, somebody got taken down by a firing squad. I can't tell you exactly where it was, but there was a person who wanted the way they were taking out by a firing squad.
I ain't mad at them, because don't give me that lethal injection that ain't working in Tennessee. Man, that lethal injection they've been giving people, been messing people up. That's not no swift death. They died an awful death in pains, in searing pain, because of the chemicals they weren't administering the chemicals in the right order or in the right quantity, and the people weren't dying effectively. They were suffering.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd take a bullet too. Shoot me in the forehead. I don't want to feel nothing.
Right. Just go and get it over with.
Get it over with. If I did the crime, then give me the bullet.
Right. There was a guy who opted for it. He was like,
yeah,
I want the firing squad. I was like, wow.
And the electric chair, some states, I think Mississippi still uses the electric chair, but if you don't wet that sponge, man, that dude is frying.
Mm.
And that's what they did to one guy. They didn't wet the sponge, and they put the thing over his head and cranked it up. You need that water to conduct that electricity.
Yeah, I was just gonna say you need that water to conduct it. You need the water to conduct the electricity, and or you just making chicken fried person. That's what
I'm
you
sorry,
making.
man. When you said that, the cartoon that popped up in the back of my head was so bad. Oh my gosh.
You making chicken fried person.
Oh my
That's what
gosh.
you making.
Have you ever gone to a hole in the wall Chinese restaurant and ordered something and then you take that first bite and you ask yourself, this can't be chicken or this ain't beef, but you
Yes,
eat it anyway?
there's been a few times. Yes, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna tell no lie. There's been a few times in my life where I've been into something and I was like, this is questionable. This texture is questionable.
right. Now look, this is the honest to goodness truth, man. When my mother was alive, I took her out for her, I can't remember what dinner it was. I took her out for her birthday. Can't remember what birthday it was, but she lived in a little town called Milford, Delaware. Well, Lincoln. She lived in Lincoln, Delaware, which is a suburb of Milford, Delaware. So we took her to her favorite Chinese restaurant, and the Chinese restaurant is like 2 blocks down from a chicken factory, right?
Yeah, I'm listening.
So she orders the chicken wings. They bring out the biggest chicken wing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Huge.
Mm-hmm.
But it had three bones in it side by side. So you're a chef. You're a former chef. Tell me, have you ever cut into a chicken wing that had 3 bones side by side?
No. No.
No.
No.
The dude, now, I don't know, what hangs out at chicken factories on the East Coast of the nation?
I don't know.
Seagulls.
Okay.
Those dudes was running down the street clobbering seagulls. That had to be a seagull wing. I'm serious, dude. When I saw it, I told my mom, don't eat that. That is not a chicken wing. I popped that bone open and them 3 bones was sticking out. I said, what chicken has 3? We raised chickens. I said,
Right.
what chicken? Look, I come from a time when my mom said, hey, look, we having chicken tonight, David. Go out there in the pen and get a chicken. And then I'm sitting here chopping the head off. I'm boiling water, dipping them in the hot water, pulling the feathers off of them, taking the big lighter and burning the little feathers off the wings. Give it to her so she can cut it open and pull the guts out. You ain't never going to see 3 bones side by side in no chicken wing.
I hear you.
That was a seagull wing. That wing was made for flying. Chickens don't fly. They fly from the roost down to the ground.
That's it. That is it.
They ain't doing no heavy duty flying. That was a wing that wing had logged some miles. I'm telling you, that thing was huge.
He said those wings had logged some miles.
Yes, sir.
Man, I don't even know what to say about that. I don't. I don't know what to say about that. That is something else.
And over in China, how we have pig feet under the cellophane here at the
Yeah.
Piggly Wiggly? Over in China, they got skinned rats under the cellophane.
Whoa.
Yeah, you could buy rat.
I've seen it, but I would pass on it because that's just not something that I would like. Be like, yeah, let's get the skin rat. Nah, I'm gonna pass
Bro,
on
you'd
it.
have to be awful hungry to eat a rat burger.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
You'd be like my man Sylvester Stallone in what was that movie he did with Wesley Snipes?
Uh,
Demolition Man.
Demolition Man.
They went down in the gut in the basement and went down underground and had a rat burger. He said, oh, not bad.
Yeah, I don't want none
And
of
you
that.
fry it up. I guess you fry anything, it's gonna taste good.
That's what they say. That's what they say, but I don't really believe that. I don't believe
Mm.
that.
I
I don't
guess you ain't been
believe
hungry.
it.
You ain't been hungry enough.
I have not. I have not. I have not. I have
I
not.
tell you, man. Look, we I forgot what year it was. It was back in the 90s. We had that hurricane come up the East Coast, and I mean, it just laid waste to the whole South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, Maryland, Delaware area, and we were without power for like a week. And I'd always told myself, I am not eating. Here's one thing I refuse to eat. I am not eating this enchilada MRE.
All right.
That military meals ready to eat. That enchilada MRE had to be the nastiest thing on the planet. And I had eaten all the other MREs, and the only one was left was the enchilada MRE. And I tell you what, I got hungry enough, I broke down, I ate that thing. It was terrible, but I ate it.
Okay, Dave. MRE enchilada.
Yeah. For all the veterans that might be listening in, they know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they know, but that just
If Mark was on the line, we'd be having a serious conversation right now.
okay. But what? Okay, tell me what that was like. Describe the.
Well, everybody's taste buds are different. What's sweet to one person is sour to another, or what's salty to one person is bland to another. But for me, that enchilada MRE was, I can't even describe what it tasted like, man. I can't. There was no, prior to me eating it, I had no point of reference that I could compare it to.
Okay.
So I would just say, take a skunk's behind, cut the anus out of a skunk, roll it in some cornmeal, cook it, and then throw some tomato sauce on it and eat that.
Oh, man. Hey, that is a heck of that's a heck of a description.
That's the only way I could describe it, man. It was awful. It was awful. I would have rather eat my mother's liver from 1967. That's how bad it was. I would have chosen her liver over that.
Man, that is. Whoo, Dave. Oh man. Oh, that is something else. Oh.
Oh man, we gotta get Mark and Morris on for and have a segment on which was the worst MRE.
Yeah, y'all can have that. Y'all can have that.
Hey man, it's amazing the things we do to serve our country.
What is Friday looking like for you right now? Friday afternoon.
Let's see. Friday. Let me check the phone. Let's see. Because Saturday is they're having a big thing at the church on Saturday, because Saturday is the pantry Saturday, plus they're having the Easter egg stuff and all kind of stuff for the kiddos on Saturday.
Yeah.
Friday calendar. Come on, calendar. The 18th.
No, Friday's the 19th. I mean, Friday's 18th. I'm sorry. Yeah, 18th. Friday's 18th.
Yeah, something in my phone saying Easter celebration. So there's that's 9 a.m. So there's something going on that I think I'm
on Friday, I'm probably going to go out to South Nashville and hang out with Sterling. And they're doing an Easter egg hunt out there, and I've got a bunch of eggs that I stuffed, so I'll be out there Friday.
Or is that with Chef Styles?
That's with Chef Sterling, right?
I mean Sterling Wright, not Styles.
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah,
that's
Sterling.
Friday. Sterling Wright at 1 p.m. on Claiborne Street. They're having their Easter egg hunt there. So the kickback will be out there representing
Okay.
Friday. And then, but I was asking about Friday night, you know.
Yeah, I ain't got no plans for Friday night.
Well, that means we'll start on time Friday night.
Yeah, 7 o'clock.
Because there's no school on Friday.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But it's now it's time to say goodbye to all our listening friends.
Oh, Carol Burnett.
So
that's what you reminded me of. You did you watch the Carol Burnett show?
Yes, I did. I love me some Carol
Okay.
Burnett show. So
man, they had a great cast.
They did. It was wonderful. And then I love how she transitioned over to Mama's Family.
Right. Yep.
And a couple other shows.
And Vicki Lawrence. Yeah.
Yes. Vicki Lawrence looked good for her age, man. When I say
what you said,
I didn't know she was as old as she was when she was on Mama's Family, and she still looked amazing for her age, even years after the show was over with. But
okay, let me ask you this. This. Barbara Eden, Lucille Ball, or Ginger or Marianne? Which one of those four?
Betty White.
Oh, snap. All right.
Betty White.
I ain't mad at you because Betty White had some tricks. Betty White.
Man.
Betty White was the stuff back in the day.
Man, that's what I'm saying. Betty White, back in her day, she was the cat's meow.
Yeah, she was.
She was the cat's meow, man. And she just, the talent she had was just undeniable.
Yeah.
But she wasn't as big of a star when she was younger as she was as she got older.
Right.
You know, her star was dimmed and people didn't see her as much because you had all those other ladies that you mentioned. You know, Ginger, Marianne, Lucille Ball. You had all of those. Lucille Ball, don't get me wrong, she was a beautiful lady, but she just wasn't my cup of tea. Her looks just didn't appeal to me. I mean, Ginger and Marianne, they were pretty girls, and I could have been on an island with them, you know. But Lucille Ball just wasn't. I didn't like her. I didn't like her rhetoric. I really didn't like her comedy style. The show was okay, but it just. I really wasn't a big fan of the Lucille Ball show.
I left Mary Tyler Moore out too. She was cute.
Oh, now Mary Tyler Moore, yeah. Because Mary Tyler Moore reminds me of a Betty White. They are about, in talent, they were about the same. Mary Tyler Moore, the show, I watched it. It was good. I don't think it was as good as people make it out to be, but it was a good show. It was a really good show.
Yeah,
Carol Burnett show.
Dynamic. Yeah, that was the bomb diggity. Their cast was just off the hook.
That's what I'm saying. The Carol Burnett show, unmatched.
Yeah, Tim Conway and Harvey Korman, those two right there.
Yeah.
And Carol Burnett, and all four of them, they were just awesome. They were hilarious.
Yes, sir.
Quick-witted, and just super funny. That Tim Conway, I don't think he got the credit he deserved because he was really a genius when it came to comedy.
Right. And I'm gonna tell you another one who was underrated that was a great comedy genius, Bob Newhart.
Yeah, he had that subtle comedy.
And that's me. As crazy as it's gonna sound, I enjoyed the Seinfeld show.
I did too, man. I thought Seinfeld was great. I'll still pull up an old Seinfeld episode. No soup for you. I love the soup Nazi.
The soup Soup
The
Nazi,
Soup
yes!
Nazi, man.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was a great episode. I loved it. And a lot of people, when I tell people that I watched the Seinfeld, you like that dry comedy? Yeah, I like the dry comedy. That's just me. I'm at either end of the spectrum when it comes to comedy. I'm either dry Jerry Seinfeld comedy or when it comes to TV shows and movies, Jerry Seinfeld dry comedy or extreme funny comedy like Jim Carrey or the Wayans brothers.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where I'm at
Yeah.
when it comes to comedy. I am somewhere in between. I can flex between the both of them.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yep.
there were some comedy geniuses that we probably will never have again because this world is so soft and people are so, that hurt my feelings. You can't talk about
Yeah.
me like that, or you can't say that on TV.
Comedy reveals the truth about things in a funny way. And you got to learn to laugh at yourself.
Most comedians say their therapy is telling jokes because a lot of the things they talk about is something that they had to deal with that was painful, but
Yeah.
they remixed it in a manner to laugh at their own pain.
And that was Richard Pryor. You just described Richard Pryor all the way around.
Right. That's what I'm saying. But I've listened to a lot of comedians say that they took their pain and turned it into a script and made it laughable.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're raised in your mama or your grandmama's whorehouse, then you see what's going on. You know, that's got to hurt as a young boy growing up around that atmosphere. So instead of being in pain, you got to find a way to turn that into comedy.
Yes, because if not,
just to survive.
Yes.
That's survival mode.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. If you didn't turn it into something in order to survive, you would have might have tried to unalive yourself or worse.
Yeah. Took out some others before you unalive yourself.
Right. That's why I said, or worse. You know, you can.
Yeah.
Because there are people out here that can't deal with pain, you know, in the smallest instances. And I tell people all the time, I said, people like me and you, Dave, I said, we are the crazy ones. And let me explain to you what I mean by we are the crazy ones. Because we deal with this life on a day-to-day basis without numbing ourselves with any illegal substances.
Mm-hmm.
The people that don't drink or do drugs or any of those things, we are the craziest ones because we deal with life and the situations head on. Y'all are punks because you got to get drunk, you got to get high, you got to do all these things in order to deal with life. But I take life head on sober every day, no matter what it brings to me.
Exactly.
So you want to mess with me? I know crazy.
Right.
But man, look, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to go and I'm going to talk with my wife. But if you're listening to this broadcast, thank you for being here. We are sponsored by Martin's Chicken and Waffles, 207
what you said?
South Water Avenue, Gallatin, Tennessee. If you have not, please go check them out. The food is amazing and the family is wonderful.
Veteran owned.
Martin's Chicken and Waffles. We love them. We know you'll love them. We got some new merch out here. Go check out the website, www.thekickback.one. Not .com, .one. And again,
ONE.
ONE.one. Go check out the website. Leave us a comment. Leave us a review. Tell us what you think about us. Tell us what you think about the content. We do conversations with ordinary people that are doing extraordinary things in their lives. And we like to thank you for being here with us. Dave.
Yo.
It's time to go. Time to play your music, brother.
Yes, sir. I'm so glad we had this time together. Peace and a jar of hair grease, everybody.
The kickback, the place for brothers. Yeah. The kickback, the place for brothers. Yeah.
Man, you're gonna have to send that track to me so I can
Place for brothers.
as much as I want.
Yeah.